Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Currently I am reading a new book entitled Resilient, How to Grow an Unshakable Core of Calm, Strength, and Happiness. And I wanted to share some parts of this book that I thought might be useful. Under the chapter of grit, there's a subheading entitled Vitality, where the author addresses the relationship we have with our body. And I wanted to read a bit of that. It says, if a person doesn't like his or her body, it's harder to take good care of it. Then vitality declines, and with it, grit and resilience. We need to accept, appreciate, and nurture the body. So today I thought I'd share a bit about the new relationship I've had to develop with my own body, and hopefully it will give you permission to maybe be more accepting of your own. I'll discuss elements of acceptance, appreciation, and nurturance, but in reverse order, and relate them back to the past 6 months of my experience. Under the subheading, Nurturing Your Body, the author starts off by saying, physical health is a tremendous aid to resilience, and the most consequential threats to safety are threats to the body. So essentially, in a nutshell, health is wealth. So he highlights 5 areas that contribute to a healthy body. A balanced and nutritious diet, getting a good night's sleep, exercising regularly, minimizing or eliminating intoxicants, and acting early to assess any potential health problems that you might have. So now, to most of us, these 5 recommendations are simply common sense, but like most of us, you may have some challenges adhering to some of these, especially during a pandemic when stress levels affect our eating habits and our sleep, and exercise is difficult because most gyms and athletic facilities are closed. And then on top of that, we may self-medicate our blues with the daily glass or 2 of wine, which is pretty normal. So maybe it's a blessing in disguise, but I was instructed by my doctors not to drink for a full year due to increased risk of seizures because of bleeding on the brain. So I have to say, when I found out I couldn't have a glass of wine when I got home from rehab, and then not for a full year after that, I was not impressed. But I think, like I said, it's a bit of a blessing in disguise, because there is a tendency, I mean, I have it too, maybe to numb your emotions with alcohol or other intoxicants, as I was saying. So although I wasn't a health nut before my attack, I had developed some protective habits. Like I walked pretty much daily and occasionally went dancing and did yoga. I was a non-smoker. I ate pretty healthy and minimized, I guess, a lot of the sugar in my diets. The sugar I saved for drinking wine. I sounds like I have a habit here. But I had developed some pretty good habits, and I slept pretty well. And there's no doubt that the health of my body contributed to my strength to endure the time spent overnight unconscious in a creek bed. As my body was not competing for resources against existing health problems. So since I've been home, I continue to nurture my body. I walk almost daily. I get a lot more sleep than I'm used to. And while I don't have a big appetite because I've lost my sense of taste and smell, so I'm not really that hungry, I do eat healthy. And as many of you know, I was nurtured and nourished by 3 months of a meal train, which was awesome. Another thing I do to nurture my body weekly is I have weekly sessions of myofascial release therapy. And during those sessions, my therapist spends some time on my face and my scars. And recently, while she was focusing on my face, I started to cry. Tears fell down my cheeks for several minutes, and she respectfully just let me cry, which I appreciated. But I got emotional because I was reflecting on what she was doing and why. I felt sad, but I also felt tremendously lucky. Like, how lucky was I to be safe and in the comfort of my home, being treated with tender, loving care. Interestingly, before my attack, I would never have treated myself to this type of therapy. Perhaps you feel the same way. Perhaps the cost is prohibitive. Perhaps you're not comfortable being touched, or perhaps you feel selfish taking time for yourself, or you simply don't see the value in touch-based therapy. They're all valid reasons. But if, on the other hand, you're looking for a way to reconnect with your body and to learn to love yourself again, I'd highly recommend this type of therapy. I've discovered areas of weakness that I need to work on, and I've experienced areas of progress and with my fitness and agility. So going forward, as long as I'm in a position to do so, I will continue to make time to nurture my body this way. Next, we're going to talk about appreciating your body. Now, body issues are very common. Perhaps you suffer with them yourself. The author recommends a couple of things to appreciate your body as is. So I'm going to read a part of what he says there. He says, imagine your life as a kind of movie, starting when you were very young and moving forward to the present. Watching this movie, see some of the ways that your body has protected and served you, even if it has had limitations, disabilities, or illnesses. It has still taken care of you in so many ways. He also encourages you to consider a friend who maybe has a body like yours, and maybe that friend is preoccupied with self-conscious and self-critical thoughts. What compassionate and encouraging things might you say to that friend? Now consider saying these things to yourself. So while developing protective habits that nurture your body is advisable, sometimes, due to circumstances, you simply must appreciate the body that you have. And like the author said, see some of the ways that it has served and protected you already. So some of the ways my body has protected and served me after my attack was by continuing to breathe overnight after sustaining a punctured lung from multiple rib fractures. Also, according to the doctors, I suffered hypothermia, but this was actually protective in that the hypothermia kept my brain from swelling to a fatal extent. After I was rescued by the first responders, my body ended up going into 4 cardiac arrests. And although at one point I was considered gone, a nurse in the ER discovered that I still had a pulse, and my heart was brought back for a 4th time. So it wasn't until after the 4th cardiac arrest that I was deemed able to be flown to the trauma hospital. At the trauma hospital, my body protected and served me by hanging on to life after being placed in a coma. Prior to being placed in a coma, a brain scan revealed that I had suffered global brain damage. Eventually, I would be a vegetable. So prior to undergoing reconstructive jaw surgery, the medical team conducted a second brain scan to determine if it even made sense to do the surgery. And the second brain scan revealed I had no brain damage. So my body protected and served me again. Interestingly, my body protected and served me by enduring a serious head wound for almost 2 weeks. When I was first brought to the hospital, my body was essentially evidence, so the nurses weren't able to bathe me. But once they were able to, one of the nurses told my husband she was going to try and wash my hair because it was a matted, nested mess from spending the night in the creek bed. So that's when they discovered multiple lacerations on the back of my head. The wounds started to heal themselves at that point, so I never received stitches. I wasn't really aware of the extent of the wounds, but just knew that every night a nurse would spend about 10 minutes attending to the back of my head. So I remember one night asking one of the nurses about it, and she said, would you like to see a picture? And of course, I did want to see a picture. I was very curious. So my husband took the picture for me. And when I looked at the wound, my jaw dropped. I'll share the picture he took. So if you have a child sitting next to you, you might want to pause the video for just a moment. So I think what really shocked me when I saw this picture was the huge bald spot. Why had I lost so much hair, and how on earth did I not bleed out that night from so many lacerations? Again, my body protected and served me. I mean, perhaps my hair created a barrier and protected the wounds. Perhaps the hypothermia prevented me from bleeding out too much. I really don't know, but I was grateful. And luckily, the bald spot has started to fill in, so the hair has begun to grow back. I mentioned in a previous video that while in rehab, had to regain the ability to walk again, and perhaps you too have had to regain the ability to do things that you once took for granted. It's a very strange experience. I remember walking the floors of rehab, first with my walker, and then without the walker, but by the side of the physiotherapist. She would observe me and remind me to relax my shoulders and straighten up. I was in protective mode, sort of half expecting to fall at any minute and attempting to make myself smaller. But in those moments, I remember feeling appreciative. I could walk. I would never take that for granted again, and I would continue to get stronger by nurturing my body. Next, let's talk about acceptance, accepting your body. We've discussed appreciating how your body has already protected and served you, and ways for you to nurture your body. But now let's look at acceptance. And this is a tough one, but the author shares some insightful reflections. I'm going to read from the book directly. To have more acceptance of your body, start by bringing to mind some people you like and respect. How much does the way they look matter to you? Probably very little. Also think about meeting new people. How long does it take to get past how they look to get to a deeper sense of them? Probably less than a minute. We worry about what others are thinking about how we look, but usually they are thinking about it as much as we are thinking about their appearance. Not much at all. So there's no doubt that some of you have been victims of abuse, that perhaps people you thought loved you or that you trusted used emotional manipulation to humiliate you by drawing attention to your perceived flaws in appearance or abilities. And while I'm not a mental health professional, and I would encourage you to lean on the expertise of one, your abuser does not represent the perspective of most decent, kind, loving, and supportive human beings. Sometimes it takes time to find your tribe, the people that have your back no matter what, and that accept you unconditionally. Have faith that your tribe exists and that you are worthy and lovable just the way you are. I'm very fortunate to have the love of a husband who has stood by my side and been accepting of the different changes I've gone through over the months. He's been more accepting of them than I have, probably at most times. But prior to my attack, most of my work that I was engaged in was public-facing initiatives. So whether that was attending networking events through my business, recording videos, teaching, auditioning for TV commercials, my appearance was on display. So when I was in the hospital and would walk past the mirror in the washroom, I would often avoid making eye contact and avoid looking in the mirror. The appearance of my face at that time, honestly, was a bit of a shock to me. It was very swollen, and I had a lot of nerve damage and new scars. And I don't have many pictures of my time in the hospital, but I did ask my husband to take one picture just so that I could remember this part of the healing process. But when you compare that picture with the current social media picture I had on my channels, it was very discouraging, to say the least. So I didn't know how long it would take to heal and if I would ever look the same again, to be honest. But there are a couple of pivotal moments in learning to accept my new appearance that I had. One pivotal moment was when I went to the dentist for a checkup and investigate a wisdom tooth problem that I was having. So I had x-rays done, and this was the first time that I actually came face to face with the injuries of my jaw. I snuck a picture of the x-ray because I was intrigued by what I saw. Seeing the x-ray actually helped me to understand my face better. I was able to understand my scars and the misalignment of my teeth. My jaw was shattered and broken in two places. So there were two plates put in place to mend the breaks and hold the jaw together again. It really helped me to see the plates because it helped me to understand the injuries better. Unfortunately, in order for my teeth to be realigned and chew normally again, my jaw will need to be rebroken after a year of healing. So this is a decision I have yet to make. I haven't decided whether I'll do that. Later in a follow-up with the neurologist, I remember her asking, and now I know what a stupid question it was, but I asked her, when was the anesthetic going to wear off? Because basically my face, I had stopped feeling it was numb, and my smile was drooping on one side, and she looked at me with a kind of a puzzled look on her face and said, "That's not anesthetic, that's nerve damage." And I laugh now, but at the time, honestly, I was deflated. As someone whose sort of main activities in life pre-attack centered around making videos, I had to make a decision. Would I stop making videos until if and when my face got back to normal, essentially hiding my imperfections from the public, or would I continue to make videos and just accept my new face? Well, I decided to continue making videos and make videos about developing resilience. And I'm sure in many respects this is healing for me, but I also hope in some small way that it can help you too. So what are some of the changes to my face? Well, first of all, I've lost the expression lines on one side of my forehead due to nerve damage. So, and interesting, I only discovered this when I was in rehab because I was trying to make myself feel a little bit better during the day, so by putting on some makeup in the morning. So I went to apply makeup, and I noticed that if you're a girl, you raise your eye to put makeup on your eye. Well, on one side of my face, it wasn't raising, and I thought, that's really bizarre. Why is this side raising and this side isn't? And then I noticed that I actually have lost, if you can see, there's only expression lines on the left side of my face. The right side of my face, through nerve damage, is all dead. So if I want to put makeup on this eye, I have to actually lift the eye up to put it in there. So that's something that, may come back, may not come back, but it's something that I just have to learn to accept. Another issue I have is that I have limited feeling in the bottom of my face. So due to the nerve damage from my surgeries. So on one side of my face, it's more droopy, like my smile is not even anymore. It's actually improved, to be honest, but because I don't have a lot of feeling here, sometimes I drool, but my smile is a little bit droopy on the one side. So hopefully the nerves will come back for that, but right now they don't. The other thing is I have a bit of an indent on my face here. It's filled in actually in the last couple of months, but there's kind of an indent in my face, and the plastic surgeon said, well, if we can find fat somewhere else on your body, we can do an injection of your fat into your face. So, you know, that's something that I could definitely do if I feel the need to later on. So also the facial nerve damage and misalignment of my teeth sometimes causes me to lisp when I talk. So I'm undergoing speech pathology right now to work on my voice and speaking. My voice, I only have 1.5 octaves of range, and the normal octave range for people is 2.5. So I can't scream, which is nice for my husband, but I also can't sing. When I try and sing, it's quite comical. Sometimes I sing in front of my husband just to make him laugh because it's really bad. But these are just some of the things I've had to learn to accept right now. So, okay, what else? So having shared all of that, ultimately what I want to say is that I accept that this is the new me. I also have learned that nerves repair very slowly, and that I have to give myself up to about a year to see if I make a full recovery. So in the meantime, life must go on, and so here I am making videos. So it's worth revisiting the passage that I shared at the beginning of this video by the author on under vitality. So again, he says, if a person doesn't like his or her body, it's harder to take good care of it. Then vitality declines, and with it, grit and resilience. We need to accept, appreciate, and nurture the body. One of the key takeaways I have from my experience is the importance of taking care of your health and your body. You never know when your body will be put to the test, whether it's through an accident, an illness, or some other traumatic experience. Accepting, appreciating, and nurturing your body will empower you and contribute to your resilience. May you find the self-belief to love the body you have and to seek companions who reinforce your value and potential. Thanks for watching. Be positive.